Hi everyone, welcome back to the US Individual Taxation Classes Enroll Agent Part 1. Now we are jumping onto tax credits. So there are various types of tax credit which we will be understanding in detail. In this particular video, we will be understanding two types of tax credit. The first one is child tax credit. The second one is child and dependent care credit. So let's dive into to understand more in detail about both of these type of tax credit. Now jumping on to the first topic, which is child tax credit. So child tax credit, it has came in the American Rescue Plan Act 2021, has temporarily extended the child tax credit. So child tax credit was already there under the TCJA Act of 2017, which has further extended the limit in 2021 by passing the new tax law called American Rescue Plan Act 2021. So here what they're saying, the child age must be 17 and below to consider his or her expenses or expenses incurred on him or her for a child tax credit. Second is credit up to $3,000 per child and $3,600 per child under the age of 6 can be considered. So normally as per TCJA it was 2000, right? But as per new amendment act of American Rescue Plan Act 2021, the limit has extended and bifurcated into two parts. If the child is less than 6 years, then you can claim up to 3,600. If child is more than 6 years, then you can maximum claim up to $3,000. So that is the update.
अगर जो क्वेश्चन में 2020 की बात हो रही है तो हम 2000 करेंगे या 3000 करेंगे?
No, 2021 is coming in your exam.
Okay.
Till 30th June 2021 details will come into your exam, and from July onward it will change to 2022.
Okay.
Refundable, and this child tax credit is considered as a refundable tax credit for the $2,000, which is like routine amount earlier as per TCJA. Up to $1,400 per child from routine child tax credit was allowed. But now in the American Rescue Plan Act, they have extended that limit to 100%. So entire $3,000 or $3,600 you can claim for the refund also. If for example you have no tax liability, right, but you have incurred the expenses for the child tax, which is being eligible for the child tax credit, then up to 3,000 or 3,600 as the case may be, that much dollar of amount you can claim as a income tax refund. Make sense?
Yes.
For increased tax credit under the American Rescue Plan Act 2021, so if age is less than 6 years, then AGI 3,600, routine was 2,000, increased limit was 1,600, right? For 6 year or more, it is 3,000, earlier limit was 2,000, extended was 1,000. And there is a phase out of the increase credit, $50 per 1,000 increase in AGI. So if your AGI of your child is being increasing $1,000, let's assume the child has an income of $4,600. In that case of scenario, $50 will reduce from the child tax credit, and every $1,000 addition into his or her income will keep on reducing $50 into the child tax credit amount. Right? Any doubt?
No, sir.
Okay. Advanced child tax credit. IRS pay 50% of the estimated. This is a good news. And this you may consider for the tax planning as well when you're consulting to your client. So if your client wants to consider as a child tax credit, right, then they can consider that while they are paying advance tax, and if they are expecting there would be a refund of child tax credit, then the income tax department, IRS, they pay up to 50% of the estimate eligible refund amount in advance as well. So what does it mean? IRS pay 50% of the estimated child tax credit to the taxpayer in advance. And if for any reason advance tax credit is more than the expected refund, then that can be added in the future to the tax liability of the individual taxpayer. So advanced child tax credit is equal to 50% of estimated eligible number of child multiplied by child tax credit. That's how you can do the math. But for any reason, if you have received more tax credit or receive more refund, then you need to pay back as a tax liability. If IRS pay excess, then taxpayer must pay by increasing the tax liability. However, if taxpayer modify the AGI, so for individual as a single, up to 40,000 AGI, head of the household 50,000, and married filing jointly 60,000. The payment received in excess of allowable child tax credit may be reduced by full repayment protected amount of $2,000. That means, for example, the IRS has paid you $2,000 as advance child tax credit. But now, after doing all the computation, you get to know the refund should be $1,000. In that case of scenario, you need to pay back that 1,000 as a tax liability due to the IRS. So that you need to pay back to the IRS, or you can consider that increase in your tax liability at year end. No increase in child tax credit if modified AGI of taxpayer is greater than the following amount. That means there is a phase out limit of the child tax credit, right? For a single, 40,000 to 75,000. For head of the household, 50,000 to 112,500. And for married filing jointly, from 60,000 to 150,000, right? So for each $1,000, $50 tax credit will be phased out. If the AGI for single is more than $75,000, then you cannot consider any amount as a child tax credit. If you are head of the household and your income is more than 112,500, then also you cannot claim child tax credit. And if you are married filing jointly and your joint tax return is more than $150,000, then also you should not consider child tax credit. If your income is less than this, but above 40,000, 50,000 or 60,000, then you need to consider $50 phase out at each $1,000 additional income. Right? Simple phase out limits. And we
Yes.
know how to do the math of phase out. And for routine tax credit, so far what we have studied is for the increase or extended limit from 2,000 to 3,000 or 2,000 to 3,600. But what about the $2,000, which is a basic or routine tax credit? So no credit if AGI is more than $200,000 for single or $400,000 for married filing jointly. So if you are a single and your total taxable income is more than $200,000, then you will not be getting any benefit of child tax credit. And if you are married filing jointly and both of your total income is more than $400,000, then also you should not consider the benefit of child tax credit. Additional non-refundable credit up to $500 for each qualifying dependent. So for each qualifying dependent, you can consider additional $500 of child tax credit, but that additional is non-refundable, that you can adjust against the taxable income, but you cannot claim that as a refund from the IRS. Any doubt here? Rajat,
No.
Sachin, Vivek,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
ठीक है? So let's do a quick question. Which of the following is not a requirement of a qualifying child for the purpose of child tax credit? Which of the following is not a requirement? Right? Always read the question carefully. The call of the question is not the requirement of a qualified child. First one is child is claimed as your dependent. Is it required?
Yes.
Yes, right? You should be considering that as a dependent in your tax return. So you need to give a separate declaration about any individual to whom you are considering as a dependent. Second is child is your son, daughter, adoption, adopt child, grandchild, stepchild, or foster child. Is this true or false?
True.
Yeah, Sachin, Vivek, Rajat.
True.
True. Okay. Third one is the child is a citizen or resident of United States of America. Is this child should be a citizen and resident?
Yes.
Yes, true.
Okay. So last is a child was under age of 19 at the end of 2021 or under age 24 at the end of 2021 and was a student. So is this true or false? To
False.
consider any child to be the dependent on your tax return.
False.
Why?
सर एज 19 होना चाहिए लाइक और अगर if he is 24 है then he must be a student या फिर he should be permanently disabled.
For child tax credit age is 17. Oh, sorry. Sorry. For a qualifying child, yeah, age is 19. What else you said, Shubham?
सर एज 19 होनी चाहिए या फिर एज 24 है तो he must be a student या फिर if any disability then can be any age.
So the missing piece is disability here. Right? If you see the fourth point, child was under age of 19 at the end of 2021 or under the age of 24 at the end of 2021 and was a student. But that in addition to this, the third condition is disabled child also. Right? That piece is missing here. So this statement is incomplete. This type of question also you may expect. It looks like perfectly right, but there might be one piece of the puzzle missing. Make sense? Shubham, Rajat?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next is child and dependent care credit. So this one is non-refundable tax credit. So what is the difference between refundable and non-refundable tax credit? Any idea?
जो फंडेबल लाइक अगर जो हमारी टैक्सेबल इनकम में से आखिरी में माइनस करने के बाद भी लाइक ये बचता है हमारा क्रेडिट तो वो रिफंड हो जाएगा इन द फॉर्म ऑफ चेक और समथिंग. नॉन रिफंडेबल में अगर जो टैक्सेबल इनकम में से माइनस के बावजूद भी हमारा क्रेडिट बचता है तो वो रिफंड नहीं होगा.
Say that again, last line. Non-refundable.
नॉन रिफंडेबल में सर अगर जो हमारा क्रेडिट बचता है जैसे टैक्सेबल इनकम हमारी $1,000 है और हमारा क्रेडिट 4,000 है तो $3,000 बच गया तो वो रिफंड नहीं होगा.
Yes. How about others? How about others? Rajat, Sachin, Vivek. What's up? Why you're not responding? Mr. Rajat Mathur?
Yes, sir.
Have you understood? Or if you have any doubt? Or you are not paying attention?
Refundable and non-refundable.
What is the difference? Shubham have just explained. Are you in class or you're just logging?
No, I am here.
So Shubham have just explained. Have you heard him?
No.
So where are you? You're not listening to me, you're not listening to others.
No, I was there only. Just went out.
So what do you mean by refundable or non-refundable tax credit? What do you understand? Anyone else? Sachin, Vivek?
Sir, no idea, sir.
So refundable tax credit are those tax credit for which you can claim the refund and you'll get the actual cash into your account. But non-refundable tax credit are those tax credit which can be adjusted up to the tax payable amount, but you cannot claim them as a refund. For example, if your tax liability is $1,000 and you have a tax credit of $2,000, if that tax credit is refundable tax credit, then 1,000 will be adjusted against the tax payable and 1,000 will get the refund in cash in your bank. But if it is a non-refundable tax credit like child and dependent care credit, then maximum of the tax credit you can adjust against the tax liability, but you cannot claim anything as a refund. If you have, let's assume, $2,000 child and dependent care tax credit and you have a tax liability of $1,000, then you can adjust only $1,000.
And with the next rest one.
Sorry?
And the rest 1,000 is payable.
Rest 1,000 is?
Payable. There is no refund for that. No.
Sachin, Vivek, what I just said, can you?
Yes, sir. Agree, sir. Understand.
What?
Yes, sir. You says that
What is
if
refundable tax credit?
रिफंडेबल टैक्स क्रेडिट इफ अगर हमारा कोई रिफंड बनता है तो वो कैश के रूप में हमें वापस मिल जाएगा।
Yes.
और नॉन रिफंडेबल के केस में वो हमारी टैक्स लायबिलिटी से केवल एडजस्ट हो पाएगा, वो रिफंड कैश के रूप में नहीं मिल पाएगा।
Yes, absolutely right. Got it, Rajat? Okay, so child and dependent care credit is a non-refundable tax credit, whereas child tax credit is a refundable tax credit. So this is the major difference between these two, right? For taking child below the age of 13 and dependent or disabled child or spouse. So this child and dependent care credit is for taking care of the child who is below 13 years of age and dependent, which may include disabled child or your spouse. This benefit is being available for these three categories. One is your less than 13-year child, second is the person who is dependent either on account of disability or maybe he or she is your spouse. Right? The American Rescue Plan Act 2021, the credit is available on 3-tier basis. That is, you can say phase out limit. So if your AGI is less than $125,000, then 50% of the expenses which you have incurred on the child and dependent care, you can claim that as a tax credit. If your income is in a range of 125,001 to 183,000, then you can consider then it will start getting phased out, and you will phase out $2,000 for each increase in you will phase out 1% on each $2,000 increase in your AGI. What does it mean? So let's assume you have AGI 125,000, and you have AGI 150,000, and then you have AGI 200,000, right? And you have child tax credit. How much? Let's assume you have $3,000. So this entire $3,000 is being allowed if your income is $125,000 or less.
50%.
No, 50%. 50%.
Child and dependent expenses. Let's assume 5,000. We'll get this multiplied by 50%, right? But now, if your income is $150,000 and you have incurred $5,000 expense, then how much tax credit will be allowed? It says you'll be reducing 1% for every $2,000. So how much is the increment?
25,000.
This minus this, right? Are you guys with me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And percentage of tax credit to be reduced. How much percentage? This divided by 2,000, 12.5%, right? So how much was the percentage earlier? 50% minus 12.5. So how much is being eligible?
37.5.
7.5, right? Make sense, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So eligible is 1875. And if your income is more than $183,000, then only 20% will be allowed. So here you'll be considering this multiplied by 20%. Oh, sorry, 5,000. Right? Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Rajat, Vivek,
Yes, sir.
Divya?
Yes,
Yes.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
So what it's saying, like your AGI, if your AGI is less than 125,000, then 50%, more than 125,000 but less than 188, 183, then 50 to 20%, 1% will be reduced. And if it is more than 183,000 but less than $400,000, then 20%. But if your income is more than $400,000, then again you'll be reducing 1% for every 2,000 increase. And if your income is more than $438,000, then the amount you are eligible is 0%. Make sense? So how many phase out limit it have? Three phase out limits,
Yes.
One.
right? One is 125,000 to 183,000. Second is 183 to 400, then 400 to 438. Make sense? If your
Yes, sir.
income is more than 438, then you are eligible for zero deduction. Right? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay. So the maximum amount of the dependent care expense that may be considered for the credit is if you have one child or one dependent, then $8,000. If you have two or more child or two or more dependent, then maximum $16,000. So you cannot consider more than $8,000 or more than $16,000 for number of childs. You cannot say 8,000 per child. No, the maximum is, what is the maximum limit?
16,000.
16,000. So for example, if you have 5 child, what will be the limit?
16,000.
16,000, right, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so look at the note. Expenditure for dependent care cannot exceed the earned income of the low income parent. So whatever the amount you are considering as an expense should not be more than your spousal income. Your spousal income should be ideally more than the income of the overall operations. Make sense? Expenses for dependent cannot exceed the earned income of low income spouse or low income parent. Second is, married taxpayer must file a joint return unless they live apart for last 6 months or more. So what they need to do, they must have to file a joint return and they must be living apart for more than a year or more than 6 months. Make sense?
Yes, sir.
Third point is the divorced or separated parents. The divorced or separated parent, the credit is available to the parent having a custody of child for more than half a year. So as we discussed in the morning, I think one of you might have a doubt, right? If the husband and wife, they both wants to claim the custody of the son, then who should claim? So the answer to that I have given earlier is very much same answer which is being written over here. The person, whether it's mother or son, mother or father, whosoever will be incurring more than the 50% of their living expense would be considered. Right? Fourth point is, are you guys with me?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, fourth point is expenditure that qualify for tax credit should both amount paid for income care and for home care. So there are certain passes which they provide as a complimentary passes for the business class. So based on their annual business, they generate and they create the passes and share with them. Right? The expenditure that qualify for the tax credit include both amount paid for a home care or out of home care expenses also for the dependent child. That is their study expenses, their travel to study expenses and all those things. Form 2441 must need to be filed if any of your client wish to avail child and dependent care expense for the tax credit purpose. They must need to file form 2441. Right? Are you guys here?
Right.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
or
sir.
you want a break?
No,
Let's
sir. No,
do
sir.
this question. Huh?
No, sir. Carry on.
Carry on. Huh? That's good. So let's do this small question. Which of the following is a disqualification for a child and dependent care credit? Which of the following is a disqualification? That means should not be considered as a qualified child. One is child care only while you perform unpaid volunteer work. Second is pay for care of your spouse who is not physically or mentally able to care for himself or herself while you are at work. Third is making child care payment to relatives. Fourth is head of the household filing status. Which of the following is disqualified for child and dependent care credit and why? Yes, come on, do it fast. We have lots to cover today.
सर ऑप्शन 4 भी ठीक है क्योंकि सिंगल भी हो सकता है, एमएफजी भी हो सकता है, एचयूएच भी हो सकता है। सेकंड भी सर ओके है क्योंकि जो हम पेमेंट्स कर रहे हैं फॉर द केयर इट कैन बी फॉर एनीवन। एंड ऑप्शन सेकंड में सर ये है कि जो जो हमारा डिपेंडेंट है ही कैन बी द स्पाउस और द क्वालिफाइंग रिलेटिव, कोई भी हो सकता है। सर ऑप्शन 4 ही डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन हुई, ऑप्शन 1।
So option 1 you are saying is not qualified.
Yeah.
How about others? Sachin, Vivek, Rajat. Yes, Sachin, Vivek, Rajat. What is your thought?
So first is
First is
not rest of them.
sorry, your voice is not clear. Say that again.
All second, third, and fourth options are right, sir.
Why?
Because it is saying that it is a part of the the parent. So paying for care for spouse who is not physically and mentally able. That is true. Making childcare payments to relatives because they will be taking care. So paying that is also true.
Not able to understand your first point. Can you say that again? First point, what you said?
But I'm saying this second, third, and fourth are true.
Second, third, and fourth are
Valid, sir.
valid. How?
Because it is paying rightly. The second point says that it is for the care of spouse, right? So it is like paying, correct? That is dependent. Third is also same, because if we are paying to some relative who is taking care, so paying for that is also valid. And head of the household, because he is the only one, he or she, who is taking care, so that is also valid.
What is it?
The first part, the first option is not valid here.
Okay. How about you, Vivek, Sachin?
सर फर्स्ट ठीक लग रहा है, बाकी लास्ट के 3 मतलब गलत हैं अकॉर्डिंग टू क्वेश्चन।
Why?
बिकॉज सर इसमें पूछा है
First,
डिस्क्वालिफिकेशन।
let me understand what is the call of the question.
इसमें ये पूछा गया है कि चाइल्ड एंड डिपेंडेंट केयर क्रेडिट में जो एलिजिबल नहीं है वो बताना है डिस्क्वालीफाई।
Yes.
तो सबसे पहला डिस्क्वालीफाई कर रहा है, चाइल्ड केयर ओनली व्हाइल यू परफॉर्म अनपेड वॉलंटियर वर्क। बिकॉज इसमें पेइंग फॉर केयर यूर स्पाउस जो फिजिकल और मेंटली एबल नहीं है उनको उनका मिल जाएगा। मेकिंग चाइल्ड केयर पेमेंट रिलेटिव्स का मिल जाएगा, हेड ऑफ हाउस होल्ड फाइलिंग स्टेटस भी ठीक है, फर्स्ट ही बचता है सर।
Yeah. So child care only while you perform unpaid volunteer work is incorrect answer, right? So child care expense include non-voluntary payment also which you made for the benefit or taking care of the child or the dependent. Make sense, everyone?